Greetings, fellow mathematicians. We're going to take a look at a really good quotient rule question. This is kind of a trick question because the way it's written, you have a fraction within a fraction. And you might be tempted to use the quotient rule while using the quotient rule. It's not wrong to do that, but we're going to use one of our tips. We're going to rewrite before we differentiate. And what we would like to do is get rid of the fraction within the fraction, and we can easily do that. Take a look at that smaller or individual fraction's denominator. There's a single factor of x there. We're just going to multiply numerator and denominator by x. And by doing that, when we distribute x into this denominator, that will cancel out with that factor of x in that smaller denominator. So if we just go ahead and do that, multiply your numerators and denominators, what we get, multiply your numerators, you'll get x squared. And then multiply your denominators, just be careful, you have x times x, x squared. But now you get rid of the fraction within the fraction, x times 1 over x, that cancels to 1. And that is much easier to differentiate. This is now a real straightforward quotient rule question. So we just identify our pieces here. We're going to call that f. We'll call that g. And those derivatives are really simple now. We're just using the quotient rule once rather than the quotient rule within the quotient rule. So let's write these down. We have f of x as x squared and g of x as the denominator, x squared plus 1. Go ahead and calculate f prime and g prime. And those will both come out to 2x. And now we just put all the pieces back together with our formula for the quotient rule, where we're thinking of f and g as coming from here, not the original version. When again, that's not wrong, it's just going to be a lot more work. So we have our function y. The quotient rule is going to give us y prime. And if we just put our pieces together, the quotient rule starts by taking f prime and multiplying it by g, so 2x, and times x squared plus 1. All right, we have a minus, and the next term is f times g prime. So we have f as x squared, and that's multiplying g prime, which is 2x. All right, and that's all over g of x squared. So x squared plus 1 squared. All right, and you can probably see a term that's going to cancel due to the fact that both f prime and g prime were the same. When we go ahead and distribute here, you're going to get a 2x cubed term and then a minus 2x cubed term. And we should get a pretty nice simplified version for the derivative here. So just take your time. You'll get 2x cubed plus 2x. And then here, we'll just write that as minus 2x cubed. And that's all over x squared plus 1 squared. Go ahead and cancel those like terms out. They subtract out. And we're just left with 2x over x squared plus 1 squared. And that's it. If you see a question like this in your Calc 1 course, you probably want to simplify it first because there's the expectation not only for you to calculate the derivative, and here that would come out to be a big mess, but once you have your derivative, simplify it. Now go ahead, try to apply the quotient rule with your denominator written there as x plus 1 over x, and then try to simplify it to here. You're going to find it's a lot more work. If we simplify and rewrite right from the beginning as we did here, multiplying the numerator and denominator by x, it saves us a ton of work. So here, this tip, rewrite before you calculate derivatives, is a huge time saver. Hope you enjoyed the problem and learned a lot from it. If you did, Support the channel, like and subscribe.